Farmers threatening strike action unless the government back down on changes to inheritance tax. There's a headline you didn't want to be reading, but thousands have gathered in Westminster. This is a protest at the 10% levy on any farms worth over £1 million. Lots of people there in attendance, including Jeremy Clarkson, alongside opposition leader Kemi Badenoch. Ed Davey is there for the Lib Dems, Nigel Farage for Reform UK. Let's get the latest from our correspondent. He's live in Westminster. Nick Ellaby is at the scene of where this is all happening. Nick.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ian. Miserable day, but very fiery protest here. We've got probably some 15,000 farmers that have marched down Whitehall and around Parliament Square here, making their feelings known about this inheritance tax and the changes that the Labour government have made. And really what they're asking is Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, to think again, have a look at the numbers, which they say they've made a mess with, and row back on this decision to tax farms and estates that are worth over £1 million. People here saying that actually they think this is going to affect a huge amount of families. Not only is it going to affect passing on their farms and their estates to the next generation of farmers, if this tax comes in, people are going to saying they're going to have to sell land, and they're worried about what that's going to do to the British countryside, not only the farms and our ability to produce food, but also to those rural communities as well that depend on those farms and that exist around those farms. The government has doubled down, saying they're not making any changes, but certainly a sense of a feeling here that the government and politicians in London don't understand Britain's rural communities in.
Nick, thank you very much indeed. We're going to speak in a moment to Mo Metcalf-Fisher from the Countryside Alliance. Some comment from you as well. Mike Tomlinson says, who's in rural Cheshire, I back the farmers. Most barely make a profit, but are asset rich with land and machinery. Milk farmers make a few pence per pint. The double whammy of the national insurance increase and inheritance tax will kill farming. As they pay the tax, they will need to sell the land. Less land means less farming. The national insurance increase will either wipe out profits or crops that need high numbers of workers. The net result, either significant increases in prices or they go bust. And that is one of the big warnings. Mo Metcalf-Fisher is Director of External Affairs from the Countryside Alliance, joins us now live from that protest in London. Afternoon to you, Mo. Run this by us then. I mean, we know roughly the kind of overarching headline of what is happening here. Just give us a sense of the strength of feeling from people that you're meeting there today.
Well, as you can see, it's very wet. The weather's incredibly grisly, but it's not dampening spirits here among the farmers, but also country people who have travelled from all over the country. We've had people from Scotland, from the southwest, from Wales. Just a huge enthusiasm here, but also some real hurt and anger and a determination to get the message through to the Treasury, to Number 11 and the team there, that this tax is going to destroy family farms. And all we are asking for, not just at the Countryside Alliance, but farmers and all the other rural organisations, is for a rethink. This policy clearly hasn't been thought about properly. The figures between the DEFRA and the Treasury are just all over the place. They need to listen to organisations like the NFU and the CLA and work out what's gone on here, because if she listens to what's going on here today, she'd realise just how badly the Treasury have messed up.
Yeah. I mean, the arguments that go against this, Mo, as you will be familiar, is that, look, it's just a bit of inheritance tax. Farmers are mostly doing OK. You can defer the taxation over a period of years, so it's not all coming at you at once. No one's farm needs to close. This is an overreaction. How do you respond to that? Because we keep hearing this same argument, certainly from the government and certainly from supporters of the government.
Yeah, well, we're going to have a minute. Well, look, the government and any cheerleaders that have actually bothered to put their heads above the parapet to defend this tax are wrong, actually. And if they came and listened and actually talked to the farmers who had assembled here, they'd realise that that was just a load of nonsense. Farmers are struggling on a daily basis, and whilst on paper a farm might be worth a lot of money, in terms of their own turnover every year, a lot of them barely break even. But the point is they don't actually want to sell their farms. This isn't about that. This is about keeping farms in the family for the next generation. And yet again, that's the kind of opinion that divides Whitehall and the countryside. That's why she needs to get round the table and listen to farmers and the farming unions.
So when the government says that you won't have to sell your farm because you can defer payments and the like, it might be a change, it might not be desirable, lots of taxes aren't desirable. Are you speaking to people, aware of people then who are saying, actually, my specific circumstances would mean I would literally have to sell what I have?
Yes, there are farmers that are saying that, and believe me, that is not an easy decision or anything to think about. It's an extremely heartbreaking thing to have to do. You know, the barriers that exist in farming, the red tape, TB, all these issues that make farming incredibly hard mean that for some, the prospect of this tax is just too much. That's why we need to get Rachel round the table, and she needs to think again about this policy.
There it is, Mo. Thank you very much.